Hey everyone, welcome to the lecture. In this lecture, we are going to see the interface of Databricks Community Edition and different features of Databricks Community Edition. So let's go to our browser and log into Databricks. In previous video, I told you the link for Databricks Community Edition. So where I have to put my ID and password for Databricks login that we have created in previous video. So I am going to click on the sign in. So you can see this is the Databricks Community Edition. So here you can see this is the Databricks logo. If you stuck anywhere, if you click on this logo, you will come to this home page of this Databricks. Then here is the second thing, that is your profile section for the Databricks. If I click on this profile section, you can see here there is a setting and delete account and logout. These are the three sections there. The main important thing that we need is this section, and here in this sidebar you can see multiple options, and those options are such as new, then the workspace, recents, search, catalog, this workflows, and this compute section. And in the bottom you can see this collapse menu. If you click on the collapse menu, the sidebar will be now movable, and if you again click on this, then it will be docked at this corner of your Databricks workspace. Now let's see each section. So this is the workspace section. In the workspace section, you will get this sidebar where all your files and systems are there. Okay, and in this you can create your notebooks, you can create your queries, etc, etc. Now you can see here the first tab is home and the second tab is workspace. If you click on the home, there is nothing, no folders are present in the home, and this is the workspace tab. In workspace tab, first folder is shared folder. Here if you have multiple people in your team, then you can create the resources here that you want to be sure that you want to share. And this is the users folder. If I click on the users folder, you can see this is the one user and that is shown here, and this is the user with which I have created the account. Okay, under the user folder I can create new folders, new files, etc, etc. So let's create a folder and let's give the folder name as Spark app. Okay, this is just for demo purpose, and you can see I have this folder is created under this home, and this is the Spark app folder. You can create here as well. Let's try to create. Now you can see the Spark folder is created. Now if I click on the Spark folder, you can see here again a create option, and here I can create a notebook and ML flow. So let's try to create a notebook. So this is our Databricks notebook. Okay, so in this notebook you can write your code here in the form of Python or Scala, but right now you are not able to create any code, or because we have not created any cluster in it. Okay, so this is the thing you can see here, you have to create the cluster. So let's go to the compute section, and in compute section you can create the cluster. So let's create a cluster. For creating the cluster, you need to click on this button, that is create compute button. So I am going to click on the create compute button. Once you click on the create compute button, you can see this is the compute name, Akshay Rathod's cluster. Okay, and here it is the Databricks runtime version, and you can see here it is a 12.2 LTS that supports Scala and Spark. You can change different Databricks versions or Databricks runtime versions from here, but this is the latest stable support, so that's why I am going to keep it as same. Then here you have some instances and Spark. In Spark you can configure some Spark configuration for your cluster. Here we don't have any thing, so we can create clusters with multi nodes and all. This is a free version, so it will provide by default a simple cluster for us. So you just need to click on this create compute button. Once you click on this create compute button, you can see this is your cluster, Akshay Rathod's cluster. And in this, you can see this lots of configurations are there. So first thing you can see, this is the configuration. In the second, you can see the notebooks, libraries, event logs, Spark UI, driver log, then this different option you can explore as per your necessity. The first thing is cluster. So this Databricks runtime version, and here driver type contains 15.3 gigabytes of memory and two cores or one you can see two cores or one CPU. Okay, now this is our cluster. So here if I go to the second tab in the notebooks, you can see whatever the notebooks you have. Okay, then this is the third tab, that is library. The notebooks are notebooks that are attached with these clusters. Okay. In this section, you can install multiple libraries. So once you click on this install now button, you can install different types of libraries. By here you can see you can either provide file path or you can install the library from PyPy for Python libraries. You can install some Maven libraries, and here other options you also have. Okay, then this event log, if you configure, you can see the events are present here. In the Spark UI, you can see your Spark UI. Okay, so this is the Spark UI driver logs. These are the logs that are created by your driver machines. So you can see there is a green symbol here, and that signifies our cluster is ready. Okay, so this is our cluster. Now if I click on the compute option again, you can see this is the cluster that is shown here. Okay, and here in this you can see this is the cluster name. Okay, then it is the runtime version, what is the memory for the cluster, number of cores for the cluster, cluster status, then here your user for the cluster. And here you can see this is the option, that is run or terminate. You can terminate or run this cluster from here. Okay, if I click on this, you can see restart the cluster, clone the cluster, or delete the cluster. These options are provided here for you. Now our cluster is ready, so let's go to our workspace. This is our Spark app folder we have created, and let's create a new notebook in this folder. So I am going to create a new notebook. So this is the notebook format for the Databricks. Okay, here you can double click and you can name your notebook notebook 1. Okay, this is your notebook. You can see this is by default in the Python mode, and Spark supports for Python, SQL, Scala, and R. These are all the options. Okay, this is nothing but in the notebook, this is your cell where you can write the code and you can execute your code as well. Here you can see the run all, it will run all the cells. You can connect your notebook with the cluster by clicking on this button, and you can see this is the now I have connected my notebook with this cluster that we have created. Okay, this is the publish button, and when you come here you can see there are multiple options that are present for your notebook, and those options are comments. You can add comments to your notebook. The second option is, you can see there are multiple options. From here you can install notebook specific libraries. You have version history if you set up your version control system with it, etc, etc. Okay, and here are the some options like table of contents, then your workspace folder table, or it is like a Jupyter notebook. Okay, so for this it is running or not, let's try to run some small Python code, print, and it is as usual we run with the Python code hello world. Okay, so this is our Python code, and you can run the notebook by control and enter, or you can just click on this button, or you can use shift enter. It will run this current cell and create a new cell. Okay, so I'm going to hit control and enter, so I will allow it, and you can see your results is shown here. Okay, so this is the notebook. From here also, for every cell you can choose different options. You can choose SQL, Markdown, Scala or R that are provided here. And this option, it will provide like the basic functionalities: copy cell, cut cell, etc., etc., create new cell, hide cell, etc., etc. You can explore all the options here. These are all the basic functionalities like file. Here you can create new notebook, import notebooks, new notebook dashboards, etc., etc. You can create. Here clone, import, export, those options are also provided. In the edit functionality, you can cut, copy, paste. You can insert cell above, insert cell below, insert or select all cell. This kind of option provided. In the view section, you can change the notebook layout view, width. Then you can cell inputs you can choose, and you can customize your notebook by exploring all these options in the multiple ways. Then in the run, you can run and debug, or you can clear. Those options are provided, or interrupt, and this kind of options are provided in this cell. So this is basically your notebook. Okay. So you can create new cell by clicking on this. So this will create a new cell for you. Now let's come to the recents. In the recent, it will show you all the activities. So you can see we have created two notebooks. That is notebook one we have created right now. And before that, for showing how we can create notebook, I have created this notebook. So it is shown here. Okay. Then search tab, it will work like a universal search. Then this is the catalog. Catalog is nothing but a database kind of thing. It will provide you the tables functionality as provided in the database, and you can upload your files folders here. Okay, so here you can click on the DBFS, and this DBFS will be open, and you can see here tables. So you can go back and you can create multiple folder. This is the file store, and in file store, if you click on this arrow, you can copy the path. You can click on this. Here again it will show copy the path. If you click on this table, now you can upload file by clicking on this upload button as well. You can search with this search functionality here, and this is the small icon for clusters. Okay, so here nothing is present. So now you let's try to upload something into our DBFS. So when you click on the upload, you can create the different folders here. So I can create the folder name CSVs. Okay, and I will end with this. And yeah, let's drag and drop some file here. So I have files ready at my place, some files. So I will drag this file there. Let's drag this file. This is the CSV file, and hit on enter. And you can see the CSV folder is created and one file is present there. Okay, now you can copy the path, move, or rename or delete this file from here. But for most of you, this DBFS option is not shown here. So by default in Databricks Community Edition, this option is not enabled. So for enabling that option, you have to go to here, then go to your settings, and in the settings, you have to go to the advanced settings, and in advanced settings you can see one option here, that is DBFS file browser, and you have to select this DBFS file browser and you have to enable it. It is by default disabled. I have already enabled it before showing you this demo. Okay, so this is the DBFS or Databricks file system where you can store all your files, catalogs. Okay, then this is the workflow. This option is not provided for this community edition. You can try this option with Databricks professionals or Databricks main cloud editions, where we will see in future when we create the workflow lectures. Okay, then this computer option I have shown you. You have multiple amount of computes here. This is the compute option where you can create your compute resources. But for Databricks Community Edition, you can create one compute only. And for this version, this is the restriction for the compute. And once your compute is running, and if it is idle for 1 hour, if I remember correctly, then it will terminate automatically. You can click here and you can terminate your cluster. and you can run this cluster, restart the cluster again, but it won't work. So in that scenario, you can delete the cluster and run the cluster again. Okay, and this is the experiments, and experiment, this section is for machine learning that is provided in the Databricks. So this is the basic overview of Databricks. You can explore different types of settings, notebooks, etc., etc. So these are all the things that is the introduction to Databricks Community Edition's workspace. So this is all for this video. I hope you like this video. We will see you in the next lecture, and till then, happy coding.